Just saying mother instead of mom is like 95% of being a creepy kid. Mother! Mother! Welcome to Binge Watchers, where we talk about the stories and characters we love and the shows they live in. My name is Ron. Let's talk about Season 1 of Bates Motel. Bates Motel is a prequel to the horror classic Psycho, and it's basically an origin story of how Norman Bates came to be the way he is and the strange relationship he has with Mother. Bates Motel takes place now in modern times, which the show immediately makes clear by showing you an iPhone. I think that was a good call because this is the type of show that needs to have a very specific focus, and making everything look and feel like the 60s would probably have been distracting. The show doesn't require you to watch the movie Psycho, although watching it will provide you with some context and generally a better experience. Personally, I didn't feel like watching the movie right before I started watching the show, so I read the plot summary on Wikipedia to get caught up on all the story details I may have forgotten, and then I watched some of the important scenes on the YouTubes, and I was good to go. So the show tells the story of a 17-year-old Norman Bates and his mother, Norma Bates, as they move into a new house and take over an old motel, which they rename to the Bates Motel. The main part and the most interesting part of the show is the disturbing relationship between Norman and Norma. Norma is the ultimate guilt-tripping drama queen mom, sometimes to the point where it feels like they're making fun of a stereotype. And Norman is an overly attached, introverted, socially awkward son that does surprisingly well with girls at high school, but we'll touch on that later. This show is the Norma-Norman show. I thought that the main story was interesting, and the weirdness between those two produces some uncomfortable moments that you just can't look away from. Everything else in the show, just not as interesting. There are a bunch of side stories in this show, way too many, and as further as the story gets from having a direct impact on the main Norman stuff, the less interesting it is. Some of the stories felt unnecessary, but some of them did serve a purpose to teach us something about the characters, but just went on for too long. Bates Motel has this sort of Gilmore Girls meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing going on, and while I do love the fact that Sam from Supernatural played a character named Dean on Gilmore Girls, I just think that Bates Motel has just a bit too much of it. The performances in this show are all over the place. It felt like each storyline had a different director. The only performances that matter here are Norma and Norman, and you'll have one scene where you're just blown away by their acting, how you can see the nuances in Norma's face as she's saying something, but you know that she means something else. And then one scene afterwards, you'll have something that looks like it's out of an average romantic comedy. Generally, I think that Vera Farmiga did a really good job as Norma. I mean, you want to punch her in the face, like, constantly, but in a good way. I mean, I don't want to punch Vera Farmiga in the face, but like the character, Norma, the things that, you get it. But that is exactly what made it so weird that in some scenes, she's just not as good all of a sudden. As for Norman, he definitely gives off the creepy Norman Bates vibe, and he has a complete mastery of the blank, creepy stare. I just didn't feel that he was strong enough of an actor to carry so much of the show on his own, and we do get a lot of solo Norman. A pretty big part of Norman's story is relationships that he has with girls at school, and it was weird to me that every girl in this show is a supermodel. It just felt so out of place. I mean, I get why they did that, except for them, being a TV show, but I get that they needed something to be threatening to Norma, threatening to Mother, and I think the show did a really good job at that, but it was just a bit too much. The high school scenes felt like I'm watching a CW show. Not to knock on the CW, I love the CW, but name one main cast member of any show who is not incredibly attractive. Bottom line, should you watch it? Bates Motel is kind of in a weird place because when it's good, it's really good. Everything that has to do with Norman's psychological problems or the strange and disturbing relationship between Norma and Norman and everything that's directly attached to that, all of that is well done, interesting, and engaging. But I also felt that is all that makes the show worth watching. The rest just feels inconsistent and out of place. Now that the characters are established, and they have been established very well, I hope that Season 2 takes the strongest parts of Season 1 and expands on them. I haven't watched Season 2 yet. I think that Season 1 of Bates Motel has a great premise, but an execution that is just not quite there. I'll definitely be watching season 2 because season 1 did get me interested with the story. If you like the sort of psychological drama sort of show, I would say definitely check this out. But if you want to get into this in the long haul, maybe wait for my season 2 review. But all of that is just my opinion. What about you? Did you watch season 1 of Bates Motel? What do you think about it? Have you ever called your mom mother? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. And if you're finding binge watchers for the first time, welcome. I'd like to invite you to join the Binge Watchers community, where we're talking about TV every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with reviews, news, discussions, opinions, all kinds of great stuff, all for you fellow binge watchers and TV lovers. So you can go ahead and click on that big subscribe button to join in on the fun, or you can check out any of the other videos on the channel. If you want to talk about anything else, you can check out my personal channel. But in any case, if you are wondering why I have a different set, is because I didn't have time to set everything up, but I wanted to do this video. Keep binging, and I'll see you next time.